We're in late January and I definitely have to get my pepper seeds started. And you would think that it's kind of too early to start your pepper seeds, but if you're in zone 6, now is the time, especially if you're going to be growing spicy peppers. So in this video is all about not only starting peppers, you can also start peppers, which I'm going to show you from the store, dried at that. And on top of that, what if you started overwintering a few peppers? I did that last year. I tried to overwinter some peppers and I got to tell you the goods and the bads of what happened, but it did work out in the end. Let's go. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener, where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a much needed form of mental health therapy, sobriety, and also learning how to navigate this crazy ass world we live in with ADHD. Woo, you already know how that is. And gardening is a great form of therapy, and we can learn a lot from our plants. Speaking of, the main thing that we're gonna learn about therapy and plants is patience, because let me tell you, pepper plants take forever to grow, especially if you're in zone 6. We're only working with a short amount of time, and also, especially if you're growing spicy peppers, which my lips are burning right now because I was touching some spicy pepper seeds, that takes an extra like a month and a half. So we're gonna be hitting multiple topics right here, so you may wanna jump around in the video. We're gonna be hitting grocery store germinating seeds. Yes, we can do that from the actual pepper itself, and also dried peppers that you can also find at the grocery store in the Spanish aisle. Then we're gonna be hitting germinating some regular old seeds in, some good old potting mix and soil. But also we're gonna be talking about the overwintering of your plants. I did an experiment on that last year. I wanted to know if it worked out. So there was good, but there was also bad. But one managed to survive, and I have to tell you all about it. So right now we're gonna be hitting the grocery store. The first thing right off the bat is that when germinating seeds, pepper seeds at that, normally in general, when it comes to seed storage, you want your seeds to dry out. But fun fact about the pepper seed is that you don't even need to dry it out in order for it to germinate. Now, I thought that was really flipping cool about pepper seeds because you can germinate the ones from the store. So I know that over the few years, my dad has found a great pepper variety from the store that he loves so much. And it comes in these like little plastic bags right here. I thought he just liked them from the size, but it just produced very well. So all you gotta do is take your pepper from a grocery store and just slice it open and then just put it directly in the soil. Yes, it is definitely that easy. But another fun fact about pepper seeds, that if you go into the Spanish aisle, I live there, of course, because I get all my Spanish ingredients and everything like that from that aisle, you can actually find dried chili peppers. Different varieties. Now of course I dabble in all things Spanish because, hello, I am Latin. Chipotle peppers, ancho chilies, guajillo chilies, I believe. There's so many different varieties of chilies that you can find that are already dried. But if you look at the bottom of those bags and also inside of those peppers, you're gonna find a ton of seeds. It's great though, because those seeds are already dried. Now, they're not exactly packaged the way that you would find or buy seeds in an actual store or from a company. They're in a plastic bag, they're exposed to light, so it's a 50-50 hit or miss if those seeds are gonna germinate. But I gotta tell you, out of all the times I've germinated those pepper seeds, they worked, okay? I always had like maybe about a 75% germination rate when it comes to those type of plastic seeds. So this year, I wound up grabbing a bunch of those type of chilies because I make a lot of sauce. Being that those seeds are already dried, you can germinate them just like we're gonna germinate them right now in a potting mix and in your own like seed tray. So that is definitely, but you can totally do that. It's super awesome and definitely easy. But there are some tricks and tips when it comes to peppers that I've learned over the years that really plays a part in that. And one of them is heat. Okay, just like the pepper plants love the heat outside, they need the heat to germinate. So keep that in mind. Yes, I know peat moss is very highly controversial, but I'm using what I already had. My dad gave me a whole big ass container of peat moss, so that's what I'm gonna use. Can you use cocoa coir? Of course. Can you use some other type of substrate? Yes, you can. You can even use these little puff up seed cells. I mean, those are awesome too. Whatever medium you're gonna be using, you can definitely use that. But there's a few tips on them. But first things first, fill up your seed trays with your potting mix. Make your little hole of where you're gonna plop that seed inside of there, and then just cover it up. I would not suggest only putting one seed inside of each cell because you don't know the germination rate of that seed. Okay, if you can really bank on it and knowing 100% that that seed is going to germinate, then you can only put one. But I have a tendency of putting 2 to 3 just to make sure and secure that it's going to germinate. In the future, you can definitely actually pull out or thin out your pepper seeds or put them into another plant or something like that, because, I like to save them. All right. I always put like 2 or 3 seeds in each cell. And then if I see both of them germinating, and then I'll actually lift one up and then I'll just transplant it into another seed cell. Waste not, want not. Okay. I actually just wind up giving away pepper plants and all that stuff. So it's not, no harm, no foul. These need a lot of moisture, So do not let your seed starting mix dry out. I've done that over the years. And let me tell you, those seeds or the seedlings do not like it. They will crunch up, they will die, they just do not like it. So try not to let them dry out. Depending on the type of substrate medium you're using, like coco coir or peat moss, man, they do dry out fast, especially under those heat lamps. So you got to keep that in mind. We're going to be paying attention. We all know you ADHD people out, neurodivergents out there. We are all out of sight, out of mind people. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you out of sight, out of mind kind of person? I am. So if I don't see or find a way to remember that this plant or this tray is in existence, I'm going to forget. And that means I'm going to dry this crap out, which means the plants are going to die. And we don't want that. Okay. So you're going to have to give yourself a reminder. I don't know how you're going to do it. Remind yourself that these plants are in existence. Okay. The seed trail, this seed tray, it exists. Don't forget about it. So this is going to need a lot of water. So try to keep always some moisture. But remember, whatever seed potting mix or seed starting mix that you're having, make sure it has a lot of drainage to accommodate for all the moisture that you're putting into this medium. Remember when I mentioned the water? Yes, I would suggest using warm water. Yes, warm water, okay? I've found that cold water does not do so hot. It really doesn't. Now, if you have a heat mat, then that's a different story. We'll get into heat mat in a little bit. But right now, warm water is the best, okay? It keeps, a warm environment. And that's what these pepper plants or these seeds actually really like. They want warmth. This plant cannot stand anything cold. So don't put cold water in this. Warm water. Hot water, don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Warm water. We're back to that heat. Under your grow light, okay? Of course, I'm assuming that you're gonna have a grow light specifically for seedlings. So under that grow light, you have a few, like 2 different ways of maintaining heat, because that is definitely gonna guarantee germination. You have one, a heat mat. Now, a heat mat is super awesome because there's a lot of different type of seeds and plants that really love heat in order to germinate. Another example of a heat-loving seed that needs it to germinate is onions. But that's going to be for another video. But these love heat. So I would suggest maybe a heat mat if you have them. They're kind of cheap. They're not too bad. I took like 2 of them from my dad. He had a really big one. So I just totally took it from, he didn't need it so much. So I have like 2 different type of heat mats. You got to remember though, those heat mats will dry this out. It will dry out your soil mix 100%. So you really got to pay attention. Really. So this may need a lot more moisture. Remember the whole moisture thing, more than usual with the heat mat. Once your seeds start to germinate, you do not need that heat mat anymore. You can definitely take it off. Okay. But we just need the heat mat for the germination phase. Now, if you don't want to use a heat mat or you don't have a heat mat, it's all good. Then I would suggest maybe having like a heated dome, like a dome, or maybe even saran wrap, some type of container or lid or something to hold on to all that humidity. It's going to create a little bit of warmth, assuming you use warm water when you're watering your seeds. Remember that. If you put cold water in this, then you're only going to be capturing and holding on to cold humidity. And we don't want that. Warm is the key. Warm. So I would really suggest getting a heat mat, to be honest. That works the best. Because if you have a heat mat, you really don't need that humidity dome or something. I have done it both ways and they have worked both ways. But you also remember, if you have that humidity dome, I've used saran wrap. I totally use saran wrap. That's totally fine. But if you use a saran wrap and the heat mat, it's too hot. And too hot is not good. And that will also kill your seedlings. Mind you, when you have it under the grow lamp, make sure that grow light is super low. Maybe about 2 inches from the seed tray itself. because if that grow light is too far away from your pepper plant, that your seedling is gonna go mad leggy, stringy, and it's not gonna look good. You want it real close. And as the plant grows, you start lifting the grow light. Okay, now we're going into the how to get your overwintered pepper plants back up. Now I did a video on that, on how to overwinter your pepper plants in the first place. I'll drop it right up here and down in the description box below, so you can go check that out. It was very informative. I did it and experimented a few different ways. And let me tell you, leave some leaves on the plant. Definitely leave some leaves on the plant. Now, if you have a memory problem or out of sight, out of mind problem like I do, and you're gonna completely forget all these plants' existence in the basement like I did, then those leaves, oh my gosh, you're gonna need leaves. That's what I figured out, leaves, because the plants that did not have the leaves did not work. On top of that, I completely forgot its existence, so I did not water it like I should have. They need water, maybe not a lot of water, but they need enough water to stay alive and dormant. I didn't do that because I forgot their existence. Out of sight, out of mind. So I'm experimenting right now. I have a few of them that are viable. Of course, if your plant is dead, that sucker ain't never coming back, which is what happened to me. However, I am experimenting right now, which I'll probably do a video short on it in the future, is that I wound up digging up a lot of those plants out of those containers and dunking them directly in water. So I'm hoping that something will happen. However, one of them did exist. I mean, one of them did survive. And you can see here, it's got leaves. Ooh, I did not think that this was gonna survive, but it did. It did. And I'm so excited about it. Granted, it's just one, but that's not the point. The point is that it grew back. All right, so that makes me happy. That makes me hopeful. And the only thing I'm gonna do right now is actually cut off some of the stem. I'm just gonna do a little pruning, and that's really about it. But other than that, yo, they came back. And what the advantage is of this, keeping your plants, and the advantage of overwintering your peppers is that because you got a head start. Okay, you know how remember I said that this takes like forever, like 4 months to grow and get this started? We already got a head start. Okay. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This video was super informative. I had a really fun time talking about peppers because I'm very excited to grow peppers this year. And let me know down in the comments below, have you overwintered peppers? Have you tried growing peppers from the store? Have you tried growing peppers from the Spanish, from the Spanish aisle? Let me know. I am super I'm curious. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I'll try to hit you back up. Also, you can always ask me these questions on Facebook as well. Until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. I'll catch y'all on the next episode. God bless you all. Until the next episode, you guys, peace and love.